Hi guys, Kathleen here. Nice to meet you. So my name's Kathleen. I don't know yet what the name of this podcast is going to be. Hopefully by the time I upload it, it'll have a name. But my intention is for this to be a podcast about knitting, crochet, sewing, kind of crafty stuff that I get into. I am going to be trying my hand at natural dyeing. So I have some yarn that I'm going to be dyeing. I'll show that to you in a little bit. I live in Colorado, in northern Colorado, and I have a day job. Like, I do something else. This isn't the only thing I do. And I've been knitting. Actually, I started with crocheting when I was in my 30s, mid-30s. My grandmother taught me how to knit when I was 6 years old, and it never really went anywhere. It didn't resonate, whatever. It was fun to do for like an afternoon, but that was it. And then when my kids were little, and my grandmother had passed away, and my husband's grandmother had passed away, who had both made blankets for my kids and for us, I felt like, well, I did it when I was 6, so I could probably do it again. So I bought one of those books from Leisure Arts from Michaels, and it was Teach Yourself How to Crochet. And I made blankets for everybody. You get a blanket, and you get a blanket, and you get a blanket, and you get a blanket. Like, everybody got blankets. And I got kind of tired of making blankets. So I thought, well, let's try our hand at knitting. And so I got Teach Yourself How to Knit from Leisure Arts, from Michaels. And this is before YouTube, before tutorials. Really, the internet was in its infancy. You kind of had to, if you wanted to learn, somebody had to actually sit down and teach you, or you had to do what I do, which is, I'm an independent learner. So I got a book and I taught myself how to do it. And initially I was doing it wrong, and a friend very kindly corrected me because I was knitting into the back loop all the time. And so I had a little project I was making for my daughter. She was about 2 at the time, and it was a mercerized cotton tank top. And it was it was hanging straight, but the stitches were all twisted, so it looked almost like it was spiral, but it was just perfectly fine. And when she told me, I was like maybe 2/3 of the way through my tank top for my daughter, and I was like, there was a ruffle on the bottom. Have you ever done a knitted ruffle? I will never do one again. You talk about a lot of stitches on a little circular needle. That was painful. So I was like, no way, I'm not ripping it out. I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to keep knitting into the back loop for the whole thing. And I finished it. And then after that, I was knitting correctly. But so I've been knitting now for probably something like 21, 22 years, something like that. I don't know. And I wouldn't call myself any kind of expert. I'm really just kind of I just do it for fun. It's nothing, I don't do super challenging things. It's just projects that I want to do. I'm mostly a selfish knitter, so mostly I knit for myself or my family. I make a lot of socks for my husband because I do love that he loves these socks. He appreciates them, and because he appreciates them, I make more of them for him, because socks, right? I mean, who doesn't love making socks? If you don't love making socks, and if you're afraid of socks, you need to go to watch the Earth Tones Girl, I think it is, on YouTube, because she's got No Fear Sock Knitting Class tutorials on there. And if you've ever wanted to learn how to knit socks, you need to watch her tutorial. I've been making socks for years and years and years, so I just have a comfort level with them. But they're really nothing to be afraid of. They are so easy, actually. Once you make a pair, start with a pair of baby socks. Once you make a pair of socks, you pretty much, you got it. You got the skill, and you can make, all kinds of different beautiful socks. I guess, I fell into one pattern that I really like, that I make a lot of. And I was going to show this in finished objects, but I guess I'll show you now. They're called Mr. Pitt socks, but really they're just knit 3 purl 1. And I do an 1.5-inch cuff of knit 2 purl 2 German twisted rib on the top, so that they're nice and stretchy at the top. They're not like binding on your leg, you know. And these are, trying to remember what yarn this is. I want to say Twisted Sisters. It may be. I can't remember. And I don't know. I can't remember. But these are women's size socks. And these are supposed to be a gift for somebody later this year. I made them and I'm kind of put them aside, but I love them so much. I don't know. We'll see. They might end up in my drawer. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so you got the story about how I learned how to knit. I'm not the world's best knitter. I'm just a knitter. I enjoy doing it. I don't do so much crochet. I do it every now and then, but not a ton. Really, I have enough skill to do that, to maybe add like a crochet border onto something or something like that. I don't do a ton with crochet. And I am starting to learn how to, actually I haven't done my first one yet. Waiting for my mordant to arrive, but I'm going to be doing some natural dyeing. I mentioned I live in northern Colorado. I live in an old 1910 farmhouse that we've renovated, and I have chickens. I have 13 chickens, hens, and I have a dog, and we have honeybees, and we have a garden, and we kind of have a really nice rural, semi-rural life. The city I work in is a little bigger, but the town that I live in is a small, quiet, semi-rural town, and we love it. We love it here. And yeah, so I don't know. I kind of have that farmy home. I don't want to say homestead, because homesteading has a very negative meaning to a lot of people. So I try not to use the word homestead. It's more like back to what people used to do, you know, to when they grew their own food, they made their own clothes, they, dyed their own fabrics and, raised everything that they ate. They did that. We're not quite to that degree, but a little bit, just enough that my husband and I both feel like we're, satisfied and fulfilled with what we're doing. I love my chickens. You'll hear a lot about them, so get ready. So I have an Instagram account and I have a Ravelry account. I am not ready to share those yet because I think I might change them. They're in my name right now, and I think I might change them to whatever the name of this podcast is going to be. So I have to figure out how to migrate a lot of stuff over from one to the other. So as soon as I figure that out, then I'll share, maybe in the next episode. I am thinking about doing this once a month, maybe a little more frequently. We'll see. I'm not a fast knitter. Nope, not a fast knitter. And that's partly because, I mentioned I have a job. I have a job, right? So I do that all day. And then I kind of have my hands in a lot of things. Right now there's some sewing going on, and I'm going to get into dyeing some yarns. And so, it kind of takes up some of my, knitting time that I would normally be devoting to just knitting. So I'm not super fast. I don't know. We'll see how often I get to do these. If I got nothing to show you, I'm probably not going to film. We'll see. Anyway, so we'll talk about finished objects. I already showed you stripy socks, and I'm using my phone, and I have a text. Go away. And so sewing. I've been making masks, like a lot of people have been making masks, and I've made a lot of masks. I mean, a lot of masks. I've probably made close to 100 masks already. I don't know. I've kind of lost count. But I'm doing the Olsen Mask, right? So it's not your accordion pleat mask. It's kind of blowing out a little bit from the light, but this is the back side, and in the back side it's got this pocket in the middle, and you can put some filter paper in there, and some people like coffee filters, some people like just paper towels. I mean, there's a lot of things you can put in there. I find that this is batik fabric, it's a cotton, and I find actually that this, because it's literally 2 layers plus a little bit of an overlap here, it seems honestly pretty thick, because when I put it on and breathe with it, it sucks in, blows out, sucks in, blows out. So I'm thinking it's probably working without the filter paper in it. I do top stitch it, and then I do stitch along here a little want to use the word conduit, but that's not the right word. It's like a little pocket, I guess, that you can put a piece of, and this one's kind of gone all the way inside. You can put a piece of pipe cleaner in. So this one has a piece of pipe cleaner, you can see. And so you can just slide it in there. You slide the pipe cleaner in. And then when you wash them, because you're supposed to wash them, there's another reason I made a whole lot of them, because you're supposed to wash them. You're supposed to like use them like for a couple hours or whatever, and then wash them. So, sorry if I just bumped the microphone. So I made a lot of them so that I could do that. So I could share, my daughter and I, who lives with us, we could, she and I can use them, and we'll have a whole stash of them. So I do use hair ties for the ends, and they seem to work pretty well. And it fits really, this pattern, honestly, there's a lot of patterns out there. So watch this. This one fits so well. So you put it on, and then you can push down on the, that's super satisfying. You can push down on the pipe cleaner and make it fit snugly. Usually I wear glasses. Okay, this is what I normally wear, but I can't see my phone with my glasses on, so they're off. But you can see, I feel like it doesn't need filter paper because I could barely breathe as it is. So, but it's super comfortable. Like I could wear this for hours, and it fits really well. Like it's not gapping here. It's not gapping down here. Like it's just fits really well. This pattern fits my face well. And it seems to fit a lot of people well. So I've donated probably about 40 or so to some to coworkers, and some to a whole bunch to a childcare facility for disabled children. I gave them like 35 of them, something like that. I can't remember. So, I've donated a bunch, but I've also, I've got a bunch here that if somebody needs one, I can, give them to them or whatever. Family. I'm not making them for the masses because this ain't no sweatshop, let me tell you. These things take time. Anyway, so I'm sewing, and another text. And, so those are finished objects. I have, like I said, a whole bunch of them. And then I have my notes here. I will link patterns, by the way. So down below, I will link the patterns to my socks. I had to find the pattern. I had to go into the internet, like the Internet Archives, if something like that, to get it. Because when I Googled it, it said it doesn't exist anymore or something like that. And so like I'm just tech savvy enough to be able to get in trouble. I don't know, for lack of a better term. And I found it, and I saved it, and it's called Mr. Pitt's Socks. Do you remember that from Seinfeld? Mr. Pitts, like he had certain socks that he was having Elaine go all over town to try and find these certain socks. Well, these are Mr. Pitt's socks. They're just knit 3 purl 1. Anyway, so where was I going with that? I don't even remember. Anyway, it's my finished object. This and my mask. Oh, I'll put the pattern down below, just like the pattern for the masks will go down below. Okay, so unfinished objects. Another text. Yeah, so this one's kind of like I don't know, it's like it's embarrassing. Like, how do you start off a knitting podcast by admitting something like this? But here we go. So I was making until it went into hibernation. This is the Breathing Space sweater from Vera Valmacki, and I love it so much. I love the colors, I love the yarn, I love the design. But dude, look at this. It's like a freaking... Can you see that? Can you see how wide that is? I mean, I'm not a small girl in any stretch of the imagination, but this is like, I put it on, it's like a potato sack. I hate it. I'll never wear it. I will never wear it. So first I was like, well, okay, so I'm gonna just frog the whole thing. Use the yarn for something else and frog it. But then I thought, no, I have a lot of time in this, and I really like it. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sleeve off that I've got almost done. I'm going to take the sleeve off, And then it's a top-down sweater, so then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unravel, and take apart maybe up to the bust, maybe a little bit beyond the bust, I don't know. But actually beyond the bust is where it kind of starts pooching out, I don't know if you can see, but it doesn't hang straight. In the pictures, in all her pictures, she's adorable, by the way, and in all her pictures, this sweater fits her, straight. Now, she's a petite girl, but her sweater fits her straight. It doesn't stick out on the side. So I'm like, what did I do wrong? And I go back and I look at the pattern, and I'm like, I followed the pattern. I don't know what I did wrong. So this is where we get into the fact that I can knit, but I'm not an expert, right? So when it comes to figuring out construction and stuff like that, I'm kind of a noob. I mean, I never really did it. I just knit a pattern, and I either like it or I don't like it. And but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and figure out how to do the waist shaping so that it doesn't, there's something about on one side you do an increase, on the other side you do a decrease. And I don't know why that is. And it's on every 10th row, something so it's not even it's every row. It's every 10th row you do an increase on one side and a decrease on the other. So, you have the same number of stitches. It has something to do with this stripey stuff. That's short rows, actually. Short rows create the stripes, but there's something to do with what she's trying to achieve here because you can't see, but it's high on my right side and it's longer on the left side. So it's kind of asymmetrical for the hem. And I think that increase decrease creates that asymmetrical, plus the short rows create that asymmetrical hem. I think I'm just gonna maybe every 10 rows maybe just decrease, or what I might do actually is I might, this here is a larger size, and I made the whole thing in the larger size. So what I think I might do, because I need the room at the top. So what I think I might do is leave this section here, this size, because it fits me comfortably. By the way, this is half superwash and half not superwash, right? So I think the gray is superwash, and the speckled, the light color speckled, is non-superwash. So it's gonna, this superwash is gonna stretch. So I'm a little worried that, while it already feels like a potato sack, it's gonna be even more of a potato sack once I block it and wear it and wash it and blah, blah, blah. So I think what I'm gonna do is take it out and take up to here out, and then just kind of do some decreases to get down to maybe the next size down and see how that goes. I'm a process knitter. There's process knitter and project or progress knitter. I'm a process knitter, so I just enjoy the act of knitting, and it's nice when you can have a project finished quickly and you can give it to somebody, or you can wear it or whatever. And something like this I would just want to have done in time for fall. But I enjoy the therapy and the zen of knitting and the act of knitting, right? So it's just the hand motion and something you're focusing on that's not you. It's not TV. It's not whatever. So I'm a process knitter. So I don't think it's such a huge deal that I'm ripping it out, except it's a little gut-wrenching to actually do it because there's so many hours. There are so many hours invested in knitting this. And that's really the only thing that really bothers me, is that I have so many hours invested in this, and then I'm going to be ripping it all out. Whatevs. It's going to happen at some point. Right now it's in hibernation because I'm mad at it. So, I love you, Vera Valimaki. Your patterns are beautiful. This one, I don't know. It's probably all on me. It's probably not you. It's probably me. Okay, so that's my UFO. That's probably going to stay a UFO for a little while. Next we have whips. And whips, I always have a pair of socks. Always. And honestly, it's always the same sock. It's always this Knit 3 Purl 1. Always. And I just do a basic, oops, sorry. Hello. Pay attention, Kathleen. I carry the Knit 3 Purl 1 down the foot, but I don't do it obviously on the bottom of the foot. And I do the German short row heel. Yeah, German short row heel. That's what it's called. And these actually, not quite twinsies, but pretty darned close. Actually, if you were to look closely, you would see the stripes are actually mirror images. So this going down is the same as this going up, but you can't really tell, right? So I'm not too worried about it. I didn't do that thing where you're supposed to, you wind the yarn into two cakes, and then you're supposed to take one of the cakes and rewind it again, and then that way they start at the same place if it's self-striping yarn. And I didn't do that, so it's mirror images of each other. But that's okay. This one, it doesn't matter as much because it's just this is not self-striping. It happens to be doing a little stripy thing, but it's not supposed to be a self-striping yarn. What is this yarn? You're gonna ask me. I know you're gonna ask me. Somewhere in here, I have my. Oh, this is a Jezebel Bee bag. I love it because you can put it on your arm and you can be like knitting while you're standing in line and stuff somewhere. And this is like my only pin. I don't know if you can see it. It's my only one. Kind of see it, sorta. It's from my sister Knits. It's a little yarn shop here where I live, and it's her little dog who's adorable. She's on the enamel pin. I'm not a really huge pin fan, so that's my only one because hello, my sister Knits. I adore that place. It's like I won't shop anywhere else if I have to shop for something and I can't go to my sister Knits because they're closed on Monday, then then I have to do it. But usually I'll wait till Tuesday because I love that place so much. And if you go to their website, which I think is mysisternits.com, maybe, you'll see what I mean. Anyway, so this bag is great because then you can be standing in line. And I also do magic loop. What is going on here? I have no idea why I seem to be... Did I start a row? I don't know what I did here. Anyway, I do magic loop to knit my socks. I do 2 at a time. And if you ever... Oh man, 2 at a time is awesome because you never have second sock syndrome. Watch Happy Knits. It's Happee Knits on YouTube. She also does magic loop 2 at a time. She's my hero because she recently, and I don't know if she showed a picture of them finished yet, she did 4 at a time. She did magic loop 4 at a time. I'm like, I think she did it to get socks done for Christmas. I'm like, that's a whole other level of awesomeness, and she did it. And one of these days maybe I'll try it. I don't know. I do like doing 2 at a time though, because then you always have your second sock is done and ready to go. Yeah, so that's one of my whips. Always have those going. I was looking for the yarn ball tag and I can't find it. My other whip is in this little bag, and I can't remember the name of the maker for this. I wish I could remember. It's a linen bag, and this is actually stitched on. It's embroidered, like a machine embroidered on. And it's got this nice lining inside it, and it has a little pocket in the middle, and it's pretty cool. But I am doing the Hug, H-U-G, Hug Shot from Casapinka. And I'm doing it for the 2 reasons. It was to help keep your LYS in business during the pandemic. Oh, might I add, we're in the middle of a frickin' pandemic. Don't get me on that rant because... people need to wear your masks. That's all I'm saying. Just wear your damned masks. Anyway, but I'm also using, this is Farmer's Daughter Fibers, and I'm using this, and I do put my yarn in Ziploc bags to kind of keep them neat in the cakes. That's just my thing. Some people use ball sacks. I use these because they're cheap and easy. And then this one, what is the blue one? I'm using a speckle and a blue. And you can see I'm this far into it. Again, I'm sorry. This, I think, is the front. Yeah, so this is the front of it. This front side, right side, and this is wrong side. So the right side has a slip stitch, and so it kind of makes this really nice, neat little line that goes across. That's in the first section. And yeah, so here's mine. So I have Farmer's Daughter fibers for the speckle, squish fingering, 100% superwash merino in the color Waylon and Willie. And then the blue is Magpie Fibers Swanky Sock, which is an 80-10-10, 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon, 400 yards. So that's the blue color that I'm using. And I'm really looking forward to it. So Casapinka, hers is like all these. Pink is my favorite color. Normally I would be like, I want to do pink. But I wanted something I could wear as a, not a huge shawl wearer. You can't, when you have a big chest, you just can't wear these beautiful shawls because it's like, oh, right up here in your face. So I have to do fingering weight or lace weight. And I just don't wear them very much for that reason, because it's just like, ugh, it's right up here. And it doesn't hang as nicely, as, let's just say, as it does for someone who's maybe normal. I don't know. And so I don't wear a ton of them, but I love this because I figured I could wear this with my jeans, right? So you can't, I don't know if you can tell, but it's like a blue color. And then this is a speckle that's got like a gray blue and a navy and a green and a dark green. And like, it's just really knitting up really nicely together. And I think it'll look really pretty when it's done. And it'll be something that's super wearable. Like when I do wear a shawl, it'll be quick throw on, matches pretty much because I wear jeans like all the time when I'm not working. So or at least in the cooler months, I wear jeans most of the time. So it'll go, with a lot of the stuff that I have. So wish I could remember the name of the maker for the bag. I apologize. I don't remember. But I did buy this at My Sister Knits, where I buy most of my stuff. So Julie at My Sister Knits might be able to tell you where this came from if you call her. Okay, so we talked about my finished objects, we talked about my whips, we talked about my UFO, and now we'll get into, I would not call this a whip yet because I haven't started. Actually, I haven't had some of my materials come yet. They were supposed to be here today. They're not here yet, but so I decided one of my favorite podcasts is like super relaxing, and I just love this woman. Like, I wish she lived nearby because she'd be like one of my dearest friends, I think. The Autumn Acorn. So if you like, I'm a huge ASMR fan. I mean, huge ASMR fan. Gentle whispering, whispers read, I love them. But so I tend to prefer podcasts that are a little calmer and quieter and not super like energetic, which is like, I'm super energetic. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember if I'm an extroverted introvert or an introverted extrovert, but I can be, like now, I can be very outgoing and like embarrass my kids kind of outgoing, talk to strangers in the line at the grocery store. But at the end of the day, like, especially if it's been a busy day, or like if I had to go to a networking event or a conference or something like that, or it's just super chaotic in the house, super chaotic around me, when it gets to the end of the day, I'm like, go away. Just go away. I need my peace and quiet. I literally do not listen to anything in my car. No music. If I have anything on, it's like NPR talk radio. It's not anything loud and chaotic and noisy. So I think I might be an extroverted introvert because I crave, and I mean to the point of, like, if I'm at a party on a Saturday night and like we have some friends who have we love to play cards with them. It's just fun. We just love to do that, especially in the winter. But they'll run their wood stove, and it get really hot in there, right? It feels really good, it feels really good. But then it's like everybody's really loud, and so everybody's really loud and laughing and noise and blah blah blah, and then it's hot too. And so there's like two triggers right there for me. Super chaotic, noisy. I don't like a lot of noise, and really hot, and literally, it's like my brain shuts down. I'm like the wet rag that's like at a party for like an hour and gone, all right guys, great to see you, see you next time, thanks for having us, so much fun, we love being here. But I'm like the one that like is the first one to leave, because my brain just like completely shuts down. It can't handle it. My brain absolutely cannot handle chaos, a lot of noise. Like concerts, I want to love it. Like I like going to little venues and seeing live music, like a single guitarist and a singer or something like that. But like big festival, oh my god, don't even get me started. Festivals, no. Anything where there's crowds, that's another thing that's a trigger. Don't do crowds well unless they're quiet crowds, like not rowdy and not drunk and not like loud music playing, everybody's yelling and dancing. And I mean, I'll be right there with them for like an hour, and then after that it's like I'm done. So so the reason I say that is because the autumn acorn made me aware that I'm not just a weirdo, that like it's a thing, it's normal. And I found her. The reason where I'm going with this, and we'll circle back to it, is my next hobby, for lack of a better term, or project or whatever. That's how I found her. But she kind of clued me in onto what a highly sensitive person is. And I will say that pretty much everything fits me to a T, except that I have this very boisterous personality where I'm very outgoing, but then like at the end of the day, like I need to be like completely nobody, quiet. If the TV's on and somebody's watching the TV in the house and it's like loud, or like an action movie or something, I'm like, I will literally, where are my headphones? They're not here. I will literally grab my headphones. I have the Bose noise canceling. I'll grab my headphones, put them on, and I'll watch like some ASMR videos or some soothing knitting podcasts, and just like my brain just needs to just be like decompressed, or maybe it just needs the calmness. And so Gentle Knitter is another one. Oh, she's so quiet and calming, and she's the loveliest person. I mean, these people in these podcasts are like Quirky Monday. She's calm, and she's Earth Tones Girl. There's another one. Calm and relaxing. And when I watch them, I almost feel like my blood pressure's going down, and I'm relaxing, and I kind of want that for you guys. Like, I want to give that to you, but unfortunately, that's not who I am. That's who I am at the end of the day. That's who I need to be at the end of the day. But, like, for the rest of the day, I am Little Miss Extrovert. But in the evenings, and if I feel, like, overwhelmed, too much stimulation, that's the word I was looking for. Too much stimulation, then I'm Little Miss Introvert. And if I get into a new situation where I don't know anybody, now if I'm in a situation where I know everybody, I can stay extroverted for a long time. But if I'm in a new situation, like this is totally a tangent. I don't even know how I got on this tangent. This is totally a tangent. Anyway, so Autumn Acorn, she is also a natural dyer. And Fiber Tales, she's not a dyer, but she uses natural fibers, non-superwash. And so one of the things I'm earning an appreciation for is, and it kind of comes as you get older, at least in my experience, you kind of want to think more about things that are sustainable, things that are better for the environment. And maybe it's not getting older, because there are a lot of older people that couldn't care less about that stuff. But I feel like as I get older, I care more about the environment. I care more about what I can do, what my part to reduce water use, reduce waste, reduce potentially putting, chemicals in the stuff that you wear and you eat and you drink and whatever. And part of this happened when I finally got sick and tired of all the flipping clothes you buy all have, and this probably does too, although I don't know, this might be all cotton, I don't know. But my clothes, like, they were starting to pill, and I'm like, it's all plastic clothing. All the clothing we buy, unless you specifically look for natural fibers, the stuff that's more affordable, it's plastic clothing. It's petroleum-based clothing. Think about that. Your clothing is made from oil. Stop. Buy natural fibers. Make natural fibers. Wear natural fibers. So I'm getting away from superwash. I do love superwash for socks, so I'll probably continue using superwash for socks just because it wears super well, and especially if I'm giving them away to somebody, I don't have to worry so much. Like, I don't have to tell them, don't put it in the washing machine, definitely don't put it in the dryer, because you'll end up with like felted booties. These actually, you can wash them. I hang them to dry on sock blockers, but you can actually put them in the washing machine, which I do. Some people still, even with superwash, will not put it in a washing machine, but I do put mine in the washing machine, and they seem to hold up fine. I don't put them in the dryer. I do hang them to dry, and but that's probably the only time I'll use superwash, is if I'm making either socks or I'm making like some baby items or something like that, something for somebody that maybe doesn't necessarily know how to care for these fibers. But I'm really, for myself, for like my sweaters and shawls and whatever else I might make for myself, cowls, I want to go with non-superwash. So I ordered from Dire Supply. Say it on here. It's coming from Dire Supplier. So it's diresupplier.com. And actually, interesting enough, it also says Knit Crate on it. So I don't know, does Dire Supplier own Knit Crate? I don't know. Knit Crate's a subscription yarn service. So sorry for the crinkling. Personally, I love the crinkling because I love ASMR. I said that right. I could be an ASMR artist. Anyway, so I ordered some yarn. This is non-superwash fingering weight, 75 merino wool, 25 nylon, and oh my god. Excuse me? I can be irreverent, by the way. This is the squishiest, oh my god, it's the softest yarn. It is so nice. And this is my raw yarn. Kind of blowing out a little bit. I don't know, it's just a raw yarn, undyed yarn, and this is going to be my base that I'm going to dye, and I'm going to natural dye. And Autumn Acorn, getting right back to you, sister. She does natural dyeing, and Ninja Chickens also. So they're two of my resources that I use, and I watch a lot of their videos about the natural dyeing and what they've used to natural dye. And so my first one, I think I wanted to keep it really simple. So there's 5 skeins in here, and this will be my first set that I'm going to dye. I am going to use avocado skins and pits. So I figured I eat a lot of salads and I love avocados, and I have a lot of avocado skins, so it seemed kind of natural to start with that, because I also have there's other things in my yard that I could probably use to dye naturally, and I'm kind of learning that. So I figured this is my first one. We'll see how it goes, see if I like it, and if I do, then maybe I'll start trying to dye with other natural plant material or whatever, and I'll even purposefully plant it in my yard, in my flower beds and things like that. But for right now, I thought to try it out. I eat avocados. I eat a lot of avocados. So all I did was, what you do is, and they're all in this paper bag so that they stay nice and dried out and they don't get rotten. So you take the avocado, the pulp out of the avocado, and you actually, doesn't that sound cool? Yeah. Sorry. ASMR tangent. So you have to wash all the pulp as much as you can off the skin, so that you don't have any pulp left, because that could spoil, it could rot, whatever. But the skins dry out. So the skins dry out, and I also have pits too. And some people will just put them in water and make them sprout. I don't think I've ever seen anybody actually plant one of those sprouted avocado pits, by the way. And I certainly can't grow them here, I don't think. But So I have the pits too, and I think what I'll do is, I think what you're supposed to do is like with a mallet, I'll just like break them in half, that kind of thing. And these can stay as is. And I have probably like 3 or 4 avocados worth of skins and pits. And so what I'll do is I'll make my dye with those. And here's the cool thing, avocados make yarn pink, right? I'm like, avocados, it's gonna be green. No, it makes your yarn pink. And if we circle back to what I said a while ago, pink is my favorite color. So what I figured I'd do is, what I would love to see happen, and we'll see if this happens, like I'm hoping I can do like a graduated colors of pink with one dye bath, right? Because the first yarn I put in there is going to really soak up a lot of that dye, and then each successive one is going to be a little less pink. And so what I'm hoping is I'll have enough that I can do all 5 skeins, so that the first one will be, maybe really pink, and then gradually less pink for the rest of them. Maybe even the last one will be natural. I don't know. We'll see. But that's kind of what I'm hoping to do. So my mordant is coming. It was supposed to be here today. It's kind of hard to get mordants right now, and I think that that's because with the pandemic, everybody's learning all these, like, let's get back to nature kind of crafts, and baking sourdough bread, which, by the way, my husband's been doing for years, and he is an amazing sourdough bread baker. He's got a sourdough starter that's like forever old, and yeah, he's like amazing. He's been doing it before the pandemic. But and people are learning how to do needle arts and real homey things, a lot of baking and stuff like that. So mordant, for whatever reason, I guess because people are trying their hands at natural dyeing, mordant's hard to get right now. And you can't like just go out to a store and buy it. Well, first of all, go to a store. It's a pandemic, so you can't just like go to a store. If you can go to a store, you have to like wait in line outside until there's not too many people inside, and you can go in and get what you need. And I don't even know where you would buy mordant locally. So I bought it online on Etsy, and it was supposed to come today and it hasn't come today. So I'm hoping, tomorrow's Father's Day, so I am thinking I probably won't be having time to do any crafty stuff for me. But if I do have a little time, I might at least mordant. So I'll mordant these so that they're ready to go, because you can mordant them and then just leave them, like let them dry out and they're ready to go. So I might mordant these at least tomorrow, and then maybe next weekend I'll do my dyeing. So we'll see. I don't know, but that's like, so that's my next project that I'll be working on. And then I've got my socks, and I have my hug shot that I'm wearing. Oh, I totally forgot. Where is it? I'm also working on a cowl. I forget the name of it. I'll have it next time. I'll have that with me next time, because that's kind of in hibernation too, because I got bored with it, honestly. It was a pandemic knit along that my sister Knits was doing, the yarn shop I go to, and I got super bored with it really fast. It was just, I don't know, all the gals in there, I don't think they work, so they can like knit all day, and I'm like a slow knitter, so they'd be like almost finished, 24 inches, whatever, and me, I'm still here with like my little 6 inches. And so I kind of got a little bit, I don't know, not dejected, but like I felt like I can't keep up with you guys. They're on their 4th, at least their 3rd, if not their 4th project in this group, this Facebook group that was started at the start of the pandemic. Well, in March for us, the start of the the lockdown. And yeah, so they're like onto like shawls and all this other stuff, and me, I'm here with still my 6 inches, still got my little 6 inches of this little cowl, and I just can't keep up with them. So I kind of like dropped out, because I don't know, I just felt like it's kind of like being the last one to finish eating. Everybody around you, and usually that's me because I'm usually talking too much, but everybody around you is like, they're finished dinner already and you're still sitting there eating. Like, it just feels weird. So I just didn't like being the one in the group that was, hi, still working on the cowl from like March. So, and again, I have several whips, which is not like me. I'm usually very monogamous, but I do always have a pair of socks. So I usually have like one other project and a pair of socks. So maybe I'm not totally monogamous, but the socks are great because I can, like, when I need mindless knitting, I can just, even the like the heel is not too awful for mindless knitting. So yeah, so I'm pretty monogamous. I just couldn't, I just can't. No, maybe knit-alongs aren't for me because I'm not as fast as a lot of people, and they're already ready to go. And what's the next knit-along? What are we gonna do? And I'm like, here I am, 6 inches of cow still. Anyway, so yeah, but this one in here, the Hug Shot, is a knit-along. So it's Farmer's Daughter Fibers has I don't know if it's every year, but last year and this year, they have a summer local yarn shop knit-along if you use one of their skeins of their yarn or whatever, some of their yarn. And last year I participated, and so it starts at Memorial Day and it ends at Labor Day. So for me, sister, that is like brother. Maybe there's guys watching, I don't know. I hope you're not creepy guys, because that's just like, God, I'm afraid of the comments that are going to be on here. Anyway, that's like a good cow for me because it's like 3 months. So I've got 3 months to get one shawl done. I hope I can do it. I hope it doesn't end up hibernating. Anyway, so I want to say, remember I said I have show notes. I have show notes. I want to say I might be almost done. Let's see. Oh, prizes, right. So I might do prizes in the future, depending on where this goes. I don't know where this is going to go. I don't know if it's going to go anywhere. But if it goes somewhere and I end up doing this more often, hello, love a sponsor. If you're out there, I'll take ya. I would love to be able to do prizes because, people come back and they want to see more when there's fun things for them to see and look at and whatever. Oh, by the way, these right here, these are, I have awful nails. These are stitch markers. Yeah. They're obviously for larger needles, larger projects, larger needle projects, larger gauge projects. But those are stitch markers, and so are these. These are from Knitting McPurley. She has some of the best jewelry, and what I love is that it's it's useful. So it looks good. I don't know if you can see. It's actually 3 separate stitch markers. So it looks good, and I could literally take these off. If I need a stitch marker, I could literally take my earrings off and use this as a stitch marker. It's like useful jewelry, right? So it's something I can use if I need it. And I have a couple others too that are like lockets, and then if you open the locket up, inside there's like 7 or 8 little stitch markers in there too. I mean, they'd be like little like sock and fingering weight kind of projects. Maybe DK. Maybe DK might be max for them. But I love that they're like super useful, right? So I have some of that, and I do love that. And her prices are super affordable too. What would I love to be working on? So yes, I would like to do prizes at some point. So we'll see. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Maybe I'll do prizes. Did you notice I go off on tangents easily? Yeah. Anyway, so I do want to focus mostly on partnerships with companies that do sustainable materials or in non-harmful, safer for the environment ways. Non-superwash is what I'm preferring for any partnerships I have, because the process to make superwash yarn, honestly, it's not good for the environment. Some yarn companies are better than others as far as their process they use. So I would have to, if I worked with anybody who, does superwash yarns or dyed superwash yarns or whatever, you would have to be sourcing your materials from someplace that makes those superwash materials, those yarns that are less harmful to the environment. Because it is harmful to the environment. It's polluting. It's basically coating the yarn. They strip off the cuticle on the outside of the yarn. The cuticle, so it's like little spikes. Not spikes. That's not the right word. You know what makes wool feel itchy? It's the cuticle. It's what's ever the pointy part of the cuticle in the microfiber, or in the on the molecular level of the yarn. Superwash yarn feels a little softer because they scour all of that off, and then they coat, because yarn will felt, and actually those little spiky things are what make yarn felt, because it makes it sticks to itself. And with superwash yarn, so they remove that layer of the yarn shaft, and then they coat it with plastic of some kind. I don't know how that process works, but You can't tell, like when you touch it, you wouldn't feel that yarn and go, oh, plastic. You wouldn't even know. Like if I hadn't told you that, you might not have even known that superwash yarn is coated with plastic. Hello, we're back to petroleum, remember? So I would love to partner with people. This is non-superwash. I would love to partner with sponsors who use non-superwash yarns or more sustainable materials. I don't have a problem at all with metal needles. Chalgoos are my favorites on the planet, hands down. Chalgoos and eddies. I do love Knitter's Pride, the wooden ones. I don't remember what they're called, but I have a couple pairs. Dreams, maybe? They're so slick. Like they're wood, but they're super slick. So I don't have a problem, honestly, with some plastics and things like that. Especially in things like needles, because it's not something you're going to use once and throw away, so it's not going into a landfill. I will use that until I die. Like those needles I will keep and use until I die. My kids will have to throw them away or give them away, I hope. I don't have a problem with all plastics. It's just I guess most plastics. Don't want it in my clothing anymore. Don't want it in my packaging for my food if possible. Definitely don't want it in the yarns that I'm using if I can help it, except for, like I said, socks. So I would love to partner with companies that do things that are a little more sustainable. I would love to do that. So if you're out there and this gets popular at all, I mean, there's so many yarn podcasts out there these days and knitting, that this is just going to be like one more in the pool. But that's okay. To me, this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and so we shall see what happens. We're almost at an hour. I want to be done in an hour. Want to get back to crochet, so this is the things that I would love to do. I would love to do some crochet projects. I have that in my brain. Like I want to do, I don't know what yet, but I want to do some kind of crochet projects. I'm thinking, like an Afghan, a blanket, or something like that. I don't know yet. I don't know what it's going to look like. I would love to get better at Ravelry. And I will, at some point, I will share my favorite patterns, all the ones that I have listed in my favorites on Ravelry. I would love to have a dedicated crafting space. So right now, you can't see, but I'm in a room on my second floor that's not quite finished. It's mostly finished. We've renovated this house. This room is not quite finished. You can kind of see the wood is still bare on the ceiling. We have beadboard ceiling, plaster walls, beadboard ceiling, and we haven't finished that. That's like, it's down the road. It'll get done eventually. I would love to finish off the space and make it a dedicated sewing space so I could have my sewing machine set up here. But I do have a grandson, and he's little, and when he comes over, he actually sleeps in this space. So I have to be really conscious of safety for him. So, and it's also our home office. So I'm not really sure what's going to happen with it yet, but that's my goal, is to make another goal is to have a dedicated crafting space that I know everything's right there and I can just go up to and sit at my sewing machine, or like I have a futon couch here in this room. I can just sit here and knit or crochet or whatever. So I would love to do that. That's kind of one of my goals, and as we go along, maybe you'll see some of that progress. I don't know. Sewing, I used to sew quite a bit when I was young, especially when my oldest daughter was young. I did quite a bit of sewing, and these masks kind of got me back into like the sewing bug. So this one doesn't have that little pocket for the pipe cleaner. Not all of them did. I got better at it, actually. As I made them, I got better at making them. But I would love to do more sewing. That's something I would love to do more of. And then, of course, I want to try my yarn dyeing. And if I enjoy it, which I think I might, if I do, I would love to have a dedicated studio space. That is going to be a little more challenging because we have an outbuilding on the property that would be perfect for it, but it would need a lot of work. And hello, this old house needs so much work. This is first. Studio is like last on the list. We have an addition we're doing too, so like studio is last on the list, but that's like a dream down the road. Maybe it's like the next house I'm in, I'll make sure I buy something that has space I can turn into a studio. And I mean someplace where I could set up my dye pots and heat source and someplace to hang them to dry, like everything you need for yarn dyeing. I would love to have a space that was dedicated to that was climate controlled, because it gets hot when you're dyeing yarn and you got all these pots steaming and whatever. So I have to be really well ventilated and climate controlled. And because I live in a place that gets cold in the winter, it would have to be warm in the winter too. So that's down the road. We shall see what happens with that. I don't know. And yeah, that's it. Podcast. This is the last thing I want to do. We're almost at an hour. Podcasts I love. Oh, there's so many. I wrote some of them down, but then I'm sitting here thinking, but what about that one? What about that one? There are so many. I know I'm going to forget some. Next time we'll talk about more. So I'm only going to give you a few. Little teaser here. I'm only going to give you a few. Told you I love ASMR. You want to watch Gentle Whisperings and Whispers Red. They're two of the best. Gentle Whispers, Gentle Whispering, Maria. She is, as far as I'm concerned, she is the best. Oh, by the way, I live on a busy street. Do you hear those Harleys? They make me crazy. I hate Harleys. Sorry if you have a Harley. Sorry if you love Harleys. I hate them. When you live where I do and you have to hear them all flipping weekend long driving by your house. So done. Anyway, Grocery Girls. Now, I'm sure you know the Grocery Girls, right? So Grocery Girls are in my top 3. Girls in the Yarn Cafe is actually the first one I ever watched. I had no clue what a podcast, on video. I knew what a podcast was on, my Apple Podcast. I listened to them, but I had never seen a video podcast. And I even remember having my youngest daughter say to me, "Mom, that's not a podcast." I'm like, "Well, that's what they call them. They call them podcasts." That was the first one I ever watched, was Girls in the Yarn Cafe. And I watched I want to say they might have been on episode 30. No, it was less than that. Maybe 25. Maybe episode 25. And I literally went back and watched every single one. Now, I know I'm going to be super embarrassed if I get to do this for a while and I go back and watch this one. I'm going to probably be embarrassed when I see this. But I watched every one because, you know what? I got something out of every one. I loved every single one of them. Same thing with Grocery Girls. When I started watching them, I don't know, I think they were on episode 102 or something like that now. And I want to say they were maybe on episode 7. No, I've been watching them for a couple years. I don't know. I've been watching them for 2 years. So, however many episodes they've been making, then I went back and I would watch their earlier episodes. Now they have a lot of them, so I still haven't finished watching all of them. But, oh my God. If you want to laugh and you want to feel like you are sitting and having a knit time with some of the most fun friends in the world, you want to watch those sisters, because Jody and Tracy, you guys are my heroes. You have the level of irreverence that I love. Your hearts are genuine, and gosh, you're just good people. And let me tell you something. I could be Canadian in a heartbeat. I know all the words to "O Canada" because I'm a hockey fan, and I will stand up and sing the Canadian national anthem at a hockey game. I'll do that for you sometime, maybe. Sing the anthem for you. Gentle Knitter. I mentioned the Gentle Knitter because she is amazing, and she's also, her heart is really pure. She is very earth conscious, and sustainability is important to her. She's actually in that industry, in the natural sciences industry. Gigi made it. Girl, I'm from Jersey originally. I feel like you are my sister from another mister. I adore you. Gigi made it. You gotta watch her too. Drunk Knitter. She's not a drunk knitter anymore because she has a baby now, so she's not a drunk knitter anymore. But she's so creative. I love her creativity, and I love her energy, and I love now I love seeing her dogs. I love everything about her podcast. She's another one that I would love to meet. Quirky Monday. Kalisha. There are some times when I watch your podcasts and I am sitting there bawling my eyes out because I'm an empath too, so I feel what you're feeling, and I feel like you're one of my kids, and sometimes I just want to hug you because I know you're having a bad day. But she is super creative. She is amazing. She lives in Florida. She's young. She's a young knitter, and I love seeing young people knitting because clearly I'm not young. Fiber Tales. So she's in Denmark. She's in Denmark. Her podcasts are all in English. She's the one who really clued me into non-superwash. She, I think, pretty much uses all non-superwash yarns in her designs, and her designs are beautiful. And her podcast is wonderful, and it's soothing. And hello, that was where I learned that in Denmark and in the Netherlands, or the, you know, that part of the world in general, they put their babies in their strollers outside for their naps every day. It could be minus 20 degrees outside, and their babies go in their strollers, bundled up for their naps every day. Bad weather, good weather, doesn't matter. That was mind-blowing to me. I was like, I couldn't do that. Anyway, this is like some random little tidbit that I learned from her, but her designs are beautiful, and her podcast is beautiful, and her house is beautiful, and the music she plays, like, it's all beautiful. So you gotta check out Fiber Tales. And then the last one, of course, is Autumn Acorn Knits, because she's my lifesaver, and she's the one who let me realize I am normal. You might not think so after watching this, but I am normal. Anyway, guys, I'll share more next time. There's so much I want to share with you, so much I want to talk about. Like, I feel like I want to get to know you guys, and I hope that you enjoyed this and you want to get to know me, and we get to do this again. But until next time, I guess I'll say bye. I have to go finish making dinner. I still have to go to the grocery store. It's Saturday. Got stuff to do. So, you guys, this was fun. I'm looking forward to more of them in the future. And yeah, talk to you soon.